Okay, so they were all high and they wanted to meditate, except for Chad, and he was obviously incommunicado. That put me in the minors, and I had to scrounge over to the corner to listen to the radio. The music sounded good, bop, bop, and a couple of times I felt like telling everybody that they ought to be ashamed of themselves for taking such a weird ass attitude and sitting around like a bunch of castrated monks. What they thought they were, I don't know. Old Chinese sages, maybe? But it would have been a terrible mistake to say that, and instead, I got on the phone to another session across town and tried to get them to come over, but they were all in the midst of God and didn't feel like driving. I didn't feel like walking 6 miles to the same situation, and the girl from the University of Miami wouldn't lend me her car, material and earthbound though it was, so I gave up. All in all, though, we were a pretty compatible group, and I didn't start railing on about ape men and ancestral blood, so everything went along smoothly, and nobody wound up whispering to themselves in the closet. Slight as it was, a little confusion did result when Chad stirred up some interest in what might be in a little attic among the rafters. One by one we climbed up on the chairs to look, and found dust, splinters of wood, and a rotten sofa cushion. Everybody else took it calmly, but Richard completely lost his holy up there. He started laughing like a lunatic and pelting us with debris. We were all sort of embarrassed and just ignored him, and eventually he came down to do some explaining to his friend. I started to help him out with some impromptu Darwin, but right then everything in their voices went geometric, and I blew most of the night waiting for a way back. As form returned, Richard had turned out the lights because the night was wearing thin outside, and the furniture and rafters were traced in silver. I got up stiffly and went outside into the yard to listen. Chad was lying on his back by a gardenia bush, but I didn't go over to see how he was getting on because I hate to yak at people just as it's getting light. A bird flew by his face so close it breezed his hair, and I thought, God, I bet that was beautiful. Then I watched a tiny spider lower himself all the way from the roof of the porch and wondered how the little thing could manufacture so much web. It stopped right in front of my face as I sat there thinking how strange that such a tiny thing contains just as much life as me. I thought that the soul of the spider or of the bird that flew over Chad must be exquisite indeed to take such form. Then the sun reached into the yard. I took a deep breath, accidentally inhaling the spider, and went back inside to help calm the panic. When people sit up all night, there's usually a kind of guilty confusion as the sun hits the curtains. The whole city was soon to move out there, and everybody emptied ashtrays and started looking for their shoes. A minute later, everybody was sitting back down and trying to look ready, as if the sun had a question, perhaps.